Hey guys, it's your boy MKS back at you another video. Hope everyone's well. Um, hope you checked out part one. I hope someone out there will enjoy it as many people as possible, especially as many people as possible, especially Africans or people who support Pan-Africanism. Anywho, I think if anything I could say in the intro. I think I've too much else to say, but as ever, I'd love to hear your opinions, your ideas, thoughts, or anything you'd like to contribute. What do you think of my channel generally, or my videos? What do you think I upload too many too quickly? I might have some unknown ADHD or something like that. Or, anyway, as ever, any comments you think of, my videos too long, or anything you dislike generally, or anything you like about them, I'd love to know what you think. Anywho, getting on with the list. Number 11, I dream for Central Africa, and I'd like to propose. I suppose these videos are about proposing the idea of Central Africa holding the following sort of summits or conferences or events, as many as possible between African countries, and also and possibly as well people from the diaspora. And I hope they'll create as many Pan-African organizations or groups as possible. Like, for instance, a Pan-African group for people for like dyslexia or ADHD or autism or any other neurodiverse conditions, special needs, learning disabilities, whatever. Also for like animal rights, inventors, so promote those sorts of things across Africa. And also, like, a lot of time in the past, and maybe even by some people now, like Africa is seen as, or was seen as, the dark continent, as in a continent without much hope, and there were like lots of articles about that. So I think Africa's, although it still has a lot of problems, it's sort of grown in many ways. There's sort of great tech companies there and growth in many countries. So in many ways it has improved, and I hope to see that improve much further, and look at employment and cutting back on corruption and crime, and changing some of the perceptions of Africa, and also like what Africans have, perceptions they have of each other, so they can be more proud. And I think Central Africa could be symbolic, as I talked before, about if they learn from Rwanda and countries like that about how to make peace, and also like Central Africa and Nigeria, Cameroon, and countries like that, which have been sort of divided and fighting each other, and maybe even South Africa and other African countries, to sort of talk about how they can work together to promote human rights, and, as I say, animal rights and rights for children, and more freedoms, and supporting each other, and generally just improving their quality of life by working together and discussing things. If they disagree on things, like agreeing to disagree about things like religion or culture or whatever, but at the same time working towards the goal of helping Africa to become prosperous, and like also to create Pan-African, like all sorts of Pan-African organizations like technology and things like that, and just looking at how to make Africa as prosperous as possible, prove critics and doubters wrong, and like sort of look at what negative things people say about Africa, and like see, do you want to prove them right by being divided and fighting each other and making your economies go weaker, or do you want to prove them wrong by helping each other? So I think they should choose that. So I hope to encourage that, and like people see this video and share it, and then somehow the right authorities, or like, I love to share videos like this with like the African Union, and that they would create, and therefore they would create these sorts of events. Hopefully they'll understand my ideas, or at least it'll give them some sort of ideas and inspiration to create these sorts of things. Obviously, some of the violence between, I think it's mainly the Muslims and Christian groups, unfortunately, that fight each other. It's very hard to change that culture, and including the tribal system sort of division. So I hope they will somehow change some of those things, and let people from Africa talk about what they'd like to change as well. So sorry, I covered a whole lot of things now about inventors and all that sort of stuff, but, and like a Pan-African dyslexia group, autism group, and things like that. But yeah, I hope they will do these things ASAP, really. So I hope to, as I say, share that idea and see where it can go. Number 12, again, I hope like mentors to go to parts of Africa and to train people, especially people from the black diaspora, but also people generally who want to see Africa do well, Friends of Africa, or those who want to see people at a disadvantage do well, or have like helping other people can make you feel better as well. also, if you have strengths, like you're a business person or entrepreneur or whatever, or you're a teacher, and you have opportunities to go to parts of Africa, I think it'd be great. Like, I think it's ESOL, like ESOL, which is teaching English as a second language and things like that. So, like teaching English and just generally STEM as well across Africa, like science, tech, engineering, and maths, as well as entrepreneurship and English communication and things like that, which will help them in the future. And apparently, about 70% of jobs or so are going to be dependent on those 4 areas. So STEM is a big thing. So hopefully, all possible schools and people across Africa will learn about STEM and teach each other. Again, networking together and teaching each other, and hosting networking events and mentorship events for people to come to Africa and teach parents about how to keep their children safe and things like that, and have things like war trade and provide people with shelter and food and things like that. Number 13, I suppose that probably I'm quite naive with my ideas, like wanting to change the landscape and help Africans to be united like overnight, but it might take a long time to do so. But I hope that if not this year, then hopefully by maybe even like my birth month, or August. If not, then maybe next year to host these events. So I hope they'll be hosted, at least started off as quickly as possible. Like, one of the things that worries me is like with all the infighting or civil wars and conflict that happens in Central Africa, and maybe even other African countries, unfortunately, like Cameroon and parts of Nigeria and things like that, that it would be hard to ensure that the people who go there are going to be safe. So obviously that's a really important thing. So number 14, on that note, I hope they will look at how they can build that peace, which will hopefully lead to more tourism and things like that, and generally working together, which can lead to more prosperity, inviting big companies into Africa to talk about, especially big tech companies, about how to invest and train people to become leaders in tech, like support more women to be more Black women or African women to be leaders in tech, and things like that. Number 15, again, to host events like the Global Black Diaspora to come together and share ideas and network, share goals, and organizations like in Britain or America, African Americans or Black British people, and also their companies and organizations and things like that, to go to parts of Africa and talk about how to empower them and prove, if you want to say racist or anti-Black people or whatever you call them, to prove them wrong. I know I talked before about like I'm wary to use the term racist because everyone probably has, or most people have prejudice. So, but anti-Black, I'll say. Number 16, again, to share ideas about how to empower Africa. And again, I think I'd love to use like, look how they can learn philosophies and theories about peace, and like talking about being stronger together, hashtag stronger together, hashtag Pan-Africanism and things like that. And again, share ideas that the open exchanging of ideas, like ideas that I might have thought of, someone else can think of, and vice versa. So hopefully that would help. And again, how dyslexic strengths can help economies as well through creative ideas and thinking outside the box. Hopefully I'll be an example of that. Number 17, as I say, I hope these events will happen as quickly as possible, and there will be like success stories, and people will talk about their stories and help Africans to sell their art and sell their work generally, and be in business and sell their things around the world and things like that. And talking about how Africa can trade its way out of trouble and learn from countries like India and China about how to be empowered. Number 18, again, I hope they'll have positive stories and lots of hope and good news from Africa and things like that, especially Central Africa itself. And again, hope they'll work together instead of being divided. Number 19, I hope that, again, like big companies like Microsoft will go to Africa and train, especially training young people and especially girls to and maybe in the future, as I said before, like Africa to create its own software. And I think it'd be an amazing story if Central Africa created its own software companies, and that would be like Microsoft or Oracle or IBM or SAP or whatever they're called, or Cisco or companies like that. And also big tech companies go and train people to at least work for them and things like that, again, to teach them about things like STEM, software design and things like that. So, and there'd be more African women, especially indigenous African women, who will be the leaders of tech, or managers at least of big companies and things like that, or at least managers in big companies, like the local area manager for Microsoft in different African countries. And 20, I hope that again will work together and help Africa against extremism and to make peace. And hopefully you like this video. I'd love to know what you think. I'm out. Peace and love.